Today we're gonna cover a few of the basics of everything someone should know about a vehicle in the automotive industry. So first off, we're gonna start with your hood, right? The first thing every new car owner has to do. When you get a new car, you pop the hood. Once you pop the hood, you're gonna see you have your catalyst. A few of these catalysts just give simple explanations like this has an OBD2 system and this runs on California emission system. So that's for smog. And then after you check all of that out, you have your engine. The most important part of this for any basic, even if you're uneducated in anything about cars, is oil, because that is the lubricant of the whole system. Without oil, your whole engine will just seize and have friction. So if you come here, the first thing you'll see is engine oil and SAE 0W20. 0W20, that's just a measurement of your viscosity, which everyone should know because this leads to the biggest scam in the auto industry. Mechanics overcharging and giving the wrong type of oil to the customer. So not all cars will have that, but most cars will have it either on the catalyst or right on the oil filler cap. Moving on, as you can see here, this car has a little bit of battery acid buildup, which is a common aspect of any automotive battery. And it's a very simple job. All it takes is some warm water, a cloth, some sprays, and that's it. But don't take your car to the shop for small things like these, because these are things you shouldn't worry about, right? And also, you have your coolant. You can check coolant. Everything is very easy to the average person. You can always check your oil easily. You can always check anything like this. Fluid-wise, it's very simple. Moving on, you have your tires, your wheels and tires. See, these bad boys, if you come down here, this right here, where it says 215/45 R17, is a measurement of the width of the tire by the sidewall in millimeters. So it's 215 millimeters by 45 millimeters. And then your rim, which is this, is a size 17. And basically, besides that, you have things like your tread wear, temperature ratings, and it's all based on what type of tire you're getting. You have all of the when the tire was made, the DOT rating. You have certain types of things. You have your tire valve. This is for air. Another simple thing, you should never take your car to the mechanic for air. All you have to do is open up the valve stand, go to a gas station. It's about 50 cents. You just like a bike, you put it in, fill up the tire. If you open up your car, you sit in there. You're gonna come and see, once you turn on your car, you're gonna see that light, this light right there. See? That is your tire pressure light. Once that is on, that's saying that you have low tire pressure. And another way to know how much PSI, pounds per square inch, how much air it takes, this is where you'll find the make, the year of the model, and your tire pressure rating. The door decals, as you can see right here, gives 32 PSI in the front two, 32 PSI in the rear. The spare tire, it also gives your VIN number. It gives the year, 17, see, 17 Toyota. It gives the month that it was made in. See, it was made in July 2017. So that's a way to know if a mechanic or anyone is asking you what's the make, model. That's how you can find out. Tell them if you need the tire pressure rating so you can do the tire pressure. So everything is on the door decal. You might ask, Ormo, how are you gonna do this? How are you gonna do this? All of this work with what tools? We don't have money. Well, if you come to the rear, the trunk, once you open this up, you're gonna see a couple of tools. First of all, you have your scissor jack. This is a small type of jack that goes on the sides of your car, and basically this can be used for example, if your tire is flat, you're on the road, you have a spare tire, your tire's flat, you just jack this up from the side and replace the tires. And then you also have a tire iron to open up the lug nuts and a spare tire. And most other cars will have different types of tools depending on the make and model. Everything is up to the manufacturing specifications. But for example, this car has a spare tire, tire iron, and a scissor jack. For an oil change, we got the car on the ramps, e-brake up to stop the rear, so nothing's gonna happen. See this? Look at that. The first step of any oil change is to release pressure. The way you do that is opening up the oil filler cap. If you don't do that, it's gonna take a very long time for all your oil to come out of your oil pan. So now we can start with that. So now that we have the pressure relief, we can start with the next step, which is going under and opening up the drain plug.
We have to find the right size of the tools so we don't damage any parts of the cars. On this toolbox, we have two different measurements. We got the metric measurements that go from 7 millimeters all the way to 21 millimeters. And on this side, we have the standard ones. And also we got different sizes. If let's say if the size is 7, it's small, we need a smaller one. And then we also have bigger ratchets, and also we have adapters in case we need any adapters. All right. So on the Corolla, this is the oil pan, and then this you should remove this bolt to remove the oil. And we found that this bolt is a 14 millimeter bolt. So now he's removing the bolt. Oh.
As you can see, he's putting torque on that, some leverage just to open up the nut, the bolt actually. So now he broke it open. And you also have to have a container for the oil. And there we go, with the old oil.
Mm-hmm.
And we're gonna let that drain. Okay, now the oil is basically completely drained. And now we're gonna move on to the oil filter. So now we're gonna clean that up, put the drain plug back in, hand tighten always. If you're a mechanic or you aren't hand tightening at first, you are very liable of stripping the bolt. And that's gonna be a very bad situation. So always hand tighten, then tighten with your ratchet. Now we're gonna use this oil filter tool right here.
Let's tighten it first.
Of course. Now he's tightening it with a good amount of force, nothing too crazy, not trying to strip it, not trying to torque it down, but that's perfect. Aussie. Now we're gonna use this old school oil filter wrench. They call it a wrench, but it looks like a belt, a goatee. So now he's going to open up the oil filter. As you can see, the wrench clamps right onto the oil filter, and with the ratchet, he breaks it open. Now a little bit of oil is gonna drip from that. We're gonna have to put that back.
So now we don't need this anymore.
And now we're just gonna loosen it by hand. And we're gonna also need the container because some oil is going to drip. Yes. Let that drain out, take it out, and replace it with the brand new one. And let that drain.
Okay, so when we were buying the oil and the filter, every car has a capacity of oil. So at whatever nearby store that you're going to get the oil, you should ask the person, the cashier, to look for the oil specifications on your car. So we got the right oil spec for our car, and we also looked that our car needs only 5 quarts. So we got 5 quarts, and this is our oil filter.
He's gonna put some of the oil, the old oil, onto the top of it like that, just for lubrication. And now he's just going to hand tighten that in. And all you want to really do is just hand tighten, because there's no real point of torquing an oil filter, because it's just going to make it harder for it to come out, and it's liable to crack, seize up, and just, you know, get torn apart. So it's good to just use towels and hand tighten it. And that's about it for the oil filter. It's lubricated and tightened, and that's perfect. Okay, so now we put the funnel in right on the oil filter to fill the oil up and prevent any leakage. A funnel is is a great investment, and if you see a mechanic or someone not doing it with a funnel, be very wary, because it's very unprofessional, and it can leak. It can cause many types of stuff, like oil leaking, getting onto your exhaust manifold. As you can see, the exhaust manifold of this car is in the rear, so that will create oil burning. Okay. So now Roland is gonna be putting in the oil. As you can see, he's going slow, he's not letting it drip, getting it all to the oil, all to the engine, all to the valves, the lifters, lubricating the whole system. And as you can see, this car is taking 1 gallon or 5 quarts, and he's just gonna keep repeating that process for each one. You're done filling everything up. You're gonna put your funnel to the side, and the final step, finishing an oil change.
Check the oil level on the pipe.
We're gonna tighten this up, and now it's time to check the oil.
We clean it one time
Put it back in.
to get a
Final
accurate
result.
measurement.
And look at that, brand new oil right to the line. You can check it, see that's the
Right
full
here.
line. Brand new, the oil is not dark, it's coffee color. That means it's brand new and beautiful.
And
Oil. You're gonna have to dispose of this correctly. First off, you can never throw away oil in a garbage can, and you can't leave it out, because it's very risky. And for example, animals, children, they're attracted to the oil smell, and they can get in. It's very poisonous. Also, it can lead to flammable situations, stuff like that. So one way of doing it is putting the old oil in the new oil filter cans that you already use, and giving them to places like O'Reilly, Pep Boys, AutoZone, anywhere like that. And also, if a mechanic shop has oil everywhere and is not cleaning it up and not disposing of it correctly, that's against the FDA rules. And you can actually, shops can get shut down because of that, because they're not disposing of it correctly. And it's an environmental hazard, so it's something that every mechanic or every citizen going into a mechanic shop or doing their own work should know.
so after the oil change, we are doing another thing, and it's tire rotation. As you can see on this tire, the front tire
It's balding.
is almost gone, but the rear tire has more tread. And the reason why being is because this car is a front wheel drive, which means that the car is moving with the power of the front tires. So now what we're gonna do on every car, doesn't matter if it's a rear wheel drive or a front wheel drive, the good thing to do is to rotate these tires every 6,000 miles to get more out of your tires.
So every car has something called a lifting point. And for example, as you can see right here, these are the lifting points of the Corolla, and they come from the side. So what you're gonna do is wanting to jack it up from there. And these are the strongest points, and this is where it can take a lift from a jack or an actual lift. And now as you can see, he's lifting the car up from the side.
A little more to the side.
You gotta find the correct area, as you can see right there. Perfect. And now he's gonna start jacking that up.
Okay, so that was just our own personal jack, but this scissor jack came with the
as we
car,
showed you before.
and this is exactly specifications with the lifting point. So what you want to do is put it on and lift it until that part gets into the lifting point. Give me 1 second.
Charlie. As you can see, it's gonna go straight into the lifting point. Like that, it's gonna help lift up the rear. And now you're
And
gonna
you
use the
want-
actual tool. So anyone can use this if they have a flat tire or anything to just jack up the vehicle. Very simple, very easy, and other cars. So now we're gonna use something called an impact gun. Basically, an impact gun is just a faster way of using. It's like an air ratchet kind of. So what we're gonna do first is we're gonna go onto the bolt right there. Slowly but surely, and take it out. Nothing too quick, as you can see. Look how easy that is. And just like that, continuing that. You wanna go slow?
To the back, to the back.
Same process. Putting it on, making sure it's tight. So now we're gonna take off the tire. As you can see, the bald one. Like this. Take the rear one out, and now we're just.
And do you want to see if your tires are about to be done or if you need to replace your tires? On
You
the
can see the
tires,
difference.
these right here are the marks. So if your tires, the tread, if it reaches to this point, then that means you need to replace your tires.
Compared to this,
Compared
where
to
look
this.
how thick, there's so much more thickness. We just swapped the tires, and now we're gonna hand tighten these babies. Oh, you always want to hand tighten. You're not trying to strip the lug nut. So now that you're at the point that you've hand tightened these bad boys up enough, you're gonna have to bring it down to the ground so we can fully torque it. All right, guys. So now we're here, filling up after the tire rotation. Best thing you want to do, fill it up to the manufacturer specification PSI. So we're gonna pump some air to 32 PSI. Please. Boss, it's PSI.
No, yeah, just push it in.
And now we're gonna stop. So it's at 20 PSI right now. Pressure, put on the valve stem cap to not release any air. English? Chiche